Hello guys and welcome back to another matchup. We're on Arabia as it is my favourite map to watch any kind of 1v1 on. It really shows a player's skill. In the red playing as the Slavs, we do have Jibatong. Over in the blue, we do have MBD, which is just an alias for MBL. Yeah, I know, it doesn't seem like it, but it's MBL, that's for sure. He's going to be playing as the Vikings. So Vikings, as we know, really good when it comes to their economy. Free wheelbarrow, free handcart. It's just a good time for them in general. The further ahead they can get in terms of their eco, the better it's going to be. And essentially that massive onslaught of Viking infantry is going to come in, or arbalest, and really do some damage. As for Jibatong, of course, playing as the Slavs, they'll have access to some just awesome infantry, but really what we're looking at here is the fact he's got the farm bonus, then off the bonus of that as well, he's also got the siege workshop so he can get up to castle age, get the cheaper siege out, and really go for some kind of push. So let's check out the maps and see exactly what we've got here for both our players. Jibatong towards the north of his town center there does have his gold and has actually got his secondary one just there as well. Looking at the mini-map, he does actually have a pretty easy wall off on this side, just looking around. Or over here, some slight elevation as well, but nothing that I'm seeing that's too bad towards the town center. Now, berries do have a little bit of a saturation problem then, but then again, berries, you know, you don't exactly want too many villages on there, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Then around this, oh man, the south side looking at this, it is very, very open. He's got one set of stone here, and he's trying to lure some deer in as well, so good on him getting that early bonus. But this elevation over here is just going to make life a little bit more difficult for him, and walling on this side, look, it's not impossible. If we've learned anything from, especially ECL, walling's never impossible on any map, but it doesn't make it easy. As for MBL, I think he's got a little bit more of an issue here. He's looked like he was going to spawn on basically a hill, but of course the map generation forced all that elevation around the town center down. But he has just a hill in like every direction here. And even looking at this gold over here towards the east of his town center, that's rough in terms of the wall off, and it's probably going to make things a little bit hard for him, especially as soon as the rush comes in. Looking over towards the side here as well, not exactly the most open side in the world, but he can close it off relatively easy. I will say it's probably still a little bit more towards MBL than Jibatong in terms of the map spawn, but we'll see how they basically decide to play it out as soon as the game actually begins. Berries towards the west of his town center here, did actually decide to lumber on the south of the town center. Does have a lumber towards the north here as well, but a lot more elevation, even though the fact it may be a little bit safer in the back of his base. And it looks like he plans on walling in around, and was that a villager dead? That's a villager dead to the boar. Not what we want to see, MBL, but at the same time, it happens. We get it. Does actually go for some gold there as well, so could be potentially looking for a late drush as well. But again, Wolhoff should come around here, defend the gold, and then we should see exactly what he wants to go to. In fact, let's pull this out, and there we go. We can see the foundations of what he's looking for. Of course, Archer's still going to be able to do some damage here, potentially push through these palisades, but in reality, we do have the militia coming out, and he will be able to move out with those relatively soon. Jibatong going for his own wall off here as well. Looks like he, let's have a look at those foundations. That's done. And no, lumber camp going up over here towards the north of his town center. So he's got a north and I would say a northeastern front for his lumber there. So he is going to have that split lumber camp, something MBL hasn't decided to go for as of yet. He's still got that one harassable location. Looking towards resources here, Jibatong about to go up to feudal age. MBL actually going up quite late here, really. He's actually on 25 pop and pop capped, which at the same time, I think that actually might be his plan here. 25, loom, and then up behind that. Did he get the extra house up? Let's have a look. Does he create extra villages, or... He does, he just got pop capped. I was just looking to believe in MBL just then. But hey, it happens, we've all been there. We do have the barracks getting thrown down for Jibatong now as well. Scout gets killed off by Jibatong, who's putting himself in a really good position this game. He's going to have that early uptime, which means he'll be able to get the map control nice and easy, and should hopefully find a way to deal with these militia before they can do too much damage. Of course, we do have the berries over here, not exactly next to the town center. Same goes for the lumber up here. Lumber over here is not too bad, can wall to it pretty effectively. It's more the lumber camp over here that I'd be worried about. At the same time, I don't think MBL's seen it. Look at the black end over there. Nothing that'll work for him, sadly. And this militia just trying to find something to do now. Jibatong, of course, getting his eco upgrades behind this. Stable getting thrown up as well, so going to get some scouts out. Those scouts can do wonders for map control. And here comes the fast walls. Will he get the other side as well? Bang and bang, looking good. So easy if you're a good player, or I should say a fast player at this stage. If you can see this coming, you can drop those palisades just in time. It puts you in a fantastic spot to nullify the drush, which is something players were looking for a long time back in the older days of playing on how to deal with this situation. And the answer is these little pieces of palisade. Put them down if you can, and then don't have to commit if you don't have to. Looks like we might see spread of arrows come through. Gonna get one of those militia, gonna get a couple of arrows there. Scout gonna be involved, and looks like they will be outnumbered here. Does pull the villagers, so it gets a little bit of just idle time out of him, which Not the biggest deal in the world, but at least it's something trying to get those militia just in play and really kind of make their worth. Scout looks like it's been trapped inside here for Jibatong as well. MBL, Scout's in there, so he knows exactly what's going to happen. Should be able to check if he's doing the hunt in the back and keep an eye out. Just any idea on what he's kind of planning here and how he's going to go about countering it. Jibatong, more scouts coming out into the field, so he's going to start getting those map control nice and quickly. Can potentially actually run through and just pick off these militia if he actually wants to, and it looks like he might. Don't think he's going to check, sadly. Could have potentially just got one or two there, but actually has come forward with some villagers here, putting the tower down right on top of the gold pile. Fantastic play from Jibatong. If he can deny that, he's going to be in a great situation, because MBL, the only other gold source he's got, just remotely close to his town center, are these two here, which are outside his wall-off zone, and with the map control heavily in the favor of Jibatong, he's going to be able to really kind of seize the opportunity here. Scouts, of course, going to try and push through the palisades, going to prevent any kind of walling back, utilizing this tower that he's got here. Villagers garrisoned in as well. Scout cavalry could potentially move over, try and destroy this palisade, or at least the villager creating it, so he could get somewhere over. But look at that. MBL going to wall in the scout there, which is just true MBL fashion. MBL has reached the feudal age tower, but actually got him dropping down a market, so it could be a market blacksmith play for him, looking for that fast castle age. Does have close to the amount of food he's going to need behind this one as well, so might exactly be going for fast castle. And then from there, as Vikings, I guess he could just go straight up into crossbow, try and push out, take map control from there, and just do some harassment against Jibatong in any of his kind of resource lines he can find. But look at this, the scouts slowly getting through, will take out this palisade, but MBL taking no chances, getting more and more of those palisades up, and I think we're probably going to about see a bit more from this tower, because look at this, Jibatong, he's got 3 on stone here, he's got them palisaded in, so it is part of the strategy now, and look at this, here come the villagers, going to move across, potentially going to get probably a tower about here, hopefully, because it can deny this gold, and try and deny this lumber, and can just basically push in through this section here as well. Villagers versus militia, we know they're very, very even, but at the same time here we do have Viking militia, so a little bit more HP on those guys. Scout's going to move around and clear up those militia, no problem at all. 2 of them already being on extremely low health, so it shouldn't be too hard here. And another gold about to be denied for MBL as well. He really needs to start looking at making a move here, but look at this. MBL already on his way up to castle age. 17-19, that is a quick castle age timing. For 1v1, obviously extremely bold to go for something like this, but good on him in giving it a good crack. Does put the palisade gate down as well, wants to make sure nothing's going to get in there to really push him if the villagers do decide to run around. Whereas Watchtower, right up on behind this lumber, going to cover the gold as well, really well positioned there. However, MBL does make a rush for the tower, should be able to take that one out quite quickly. Scout's going to get pulled to the direction right now. Spear's already out from MBL as well, so he's going to be able to block any scout push through here, and as long as he keeps them moving on angle, shouldn't take too much damage, but there we go, a little bit kind of got in the way, and here we go, moving them around again. That's what we want to see. Another spear out in play, so really making it hard for these scouts to kind of find somewhere and push in against. Tower on this side, gonna damage the house. It looks like they're gonna try and crack through that palisade. Just needs to get in there and do some damage, and with MBL already on the way to the castle age, this is the bit where it starts to kind of work against Jibatong. He's got full map control, but he needs to find a way to make these units pay for themselves and really get some value out of it. Another tower starts to get thrown down next to the barracks as well. A couple of spears there to really try and deny the scout push, but at the same time, he doesn't have too much there to deal with it. The villagers are on quite high HP, so they can actually deal with the spears quite effectively. But MBL throws down a town center on top of his gold, decides to make it nice and safe, and definitely a good plan from him. Looks like the scouts are going to watch what's coming on. What are we seeing there? Still only the basics on the scouts. We do have wheelbarrow and fletching coming down from Jibatong, so it looks like he does want to start making a little bit more of a transition. What have we got? There's the archery range already in play. Blacksmith up, of course. We did see fletching already on the way. As far as pop counts go, we've got 36 villagers for Jibatong, we've got 31 for MBL. Of course, we were expecting Jibatong to have more in terms of the villager count, just due to the fact that he hasn't gone up to castle age yet. So MBL losing a little bit of time, plus we did have that early villager die to the boar as well, of course. Never a good thing to see. Still trying to bust his way in against MBL here, and MBL is just kind of sitting tight at this stage, I would say. They get his second town center up, so should be able to catch up the villager count nice and easy now. Has the walls in the back of his base up, and hasn't taken any stone or anything yet, so I think he's just going to kind of chill this one out, hold, try and get the economic lead, and as soon as he's got that, then it's time to regain map control. Over for Jibatong, we can see he hasn't even bothered fully walling off this side of the map yet. He knows he's got map control, his whole MBL in his base, so he's not too threatened by any kind of push that MBL could have at the moment. And even knowing he's just gone Castle Age, going for the extra town center, he knows MBL's not going for that huge military aggressive push. Not going to just instantly throw down a siege workshop as soon as he gets up and go for that push. He's going to have to wait till the town center comes up and then make sure he has the wood count to throw it up like he is now. So, Siege Workshop is coming up. We'll be able to clean up those towers. Most likely going to see just a couple of mangonels, get the repairs on them with the villagers. But man, this gold has been denied for MBL for so long this matchup. Does it not make his life easy? And we've even got some extra houses up here behind. They're going to make life a little bit more difficult for Jibatong as well. He's fighting to get in, but he just could not find an angle now. MBL being just a fantastic player, shutting down all these opportunities. Of course, we do have the palisades on this side here as well. I still don't like fault the tower locations. They are all covering gold. They're covering basically this lumber camp here. So he's done a great job in his defensive style, and look at that, even gets the repairs on the house. Gonna repair it faster than these scouts can take it down. The one mangonel is out, however, so he will be able to start pushing back these towers, and Jibatong really needs to come up with a new approach here. The good news is he's about halfway towards Castle Age, so we'll be there very, very soon. Garrisons up the villages in the watchtower, wants to do any damage he can, and look at this, the repairs, not going to be too much. Targeting the villager, starts targeting the villager. Of course, going to re-garrison the villager in the town center, drop out a new one, get the heals, and of course, second mangonel already on the way as well. MBL just wants to clean this up, make a move, and be able to do his own little thing behind this. Jibatong, Bloodlines, we've got Scale Barding Armor coming up behind it as well. We'll potentially see a couple of Knights out in play just to kind of deny any kind of, I guess, just push with villagers, or even make life a little bit harder on the spears. Of course, Knight's not a perfect counter, but the Knights can deal with the spears when it comes down to it in a pinch, you know? So we've got the double stable down from Jibatong here as well. Still looking relatively well set up back at home. Has got his walls across this kind of northern side, and I guess northwest of the town center set up pretty well. And here come the scouts. They move in, take out one of the mangonels, take out the second. The spear's doing a good job. We'll just about get all of them, but the bad news for MBL is he just lost 2 mangonels, and that tower's going to stay up a little bit longer, so he is going to start feeling the pinch in terms of the gold count. Good news for him, though, is he did decide to blacksmith market his way up to Castle Age, so we'll be in a reasonably decent spot for that. Jibatong actually even going for guard tower behind this, really wants to make these work for it. Does have bodkin arrow, guard tower, and crossbow coming down behind that as well. That is a lot of spears. MBL, a lot of spears, of course, in that 52 health as well. But here comes that one mangonel, gonna hopefully make a little bit of difference and help push this guard tower back. But 8+2, 7+2 on the attack now, so really going to be able to start doing some damage to those mangonels. Going to have to be very, very careful. The Knights are moving out across the map as well. Like we were saying, bloodlines on them. They've got the +1 armor. So it's just a matter of bringing them in and trying to do some damage. It looks like he might be waiting for a second mangonel here. The Knights, we do have a lot of spear counters here as well. When I was talking before, like the Knights can deal with the spears, it's not something you want, especially in these kind of numbers. If it's kind of just one kicking around, you can deal with that. That's no problem whatsoever. But right now, it's starting to feel it's a little bit of an issue. We do have a second town center coming up from Jibatong in the back as well, so doing his best to essentially make sure he doesn't fall too behind in terms of economics. Looking at the count, we've got 43 villages for Jibatong, we've got 56 for MBL. Military numbers not too out of the way yet. We've actually got 6 for Jibatong, but it is a much more powerful military looking at his knights and crossbows. However, one mangonel shot, as we know, makes all the difference here. Don't leave it exposed. There we go. Alright, I was a little bit worried there. We do have a second barracks getting thrown up for MBL as well, of course losing his first one here, so he will be able to continue to build those spears back here as well. I was waiting to see if he would just kind of hold it out and just be like, look, I don't need it, but pikemen coming down, we've got scale mail as well, so he knows exactly where he stands. He wants to be able to deal with those knights effectively. Does have another 2 mangonels ready to go, so 3 here. Should be able to deal with the crossbows, guard towers super effectively now. In fact, even moving the villagers out to repair these mangonels, and man, look at the damage those guard towers do. If they weren't repairing, this would be over so quickly. What have we got? Knights coming around to try and clean this one up. Pikeman out for MBL. Good play. Moves him actually perfectly into position here. Managed to get the surround on the Knights. Pushes him away. Loses 1 mangonel to his opponents there as well. The Knights go down for pretty much free here at this stage. Some great mangonel micro there by Jibatong. Managing to take out another one there. But currently a 2-for-0 trade on the mangonels. And this tower still hasn't gone down. We've got the first tower beginning to be dealt with. And that's a good attack round. Manages to get the villager, nearly kills the mangonel as well, but it's just not enough. Knight's still looking for a way to push in and do some damage against MBL, but MBL continues to hold, even gets a third town center up on this goal towards the side here that I don't think Jibatong even actually knows about. Let's have a quick look and see exactly. No, in fact, he has no idea the goal's there. This is fantastic play by MBL. Just his map awareness, moving out, making sure he gets any kind of resources he can, and that'll fuel his gold income for now. So he's not going to be too worried about getting those mangonels out and losing them. It's just about trying to be as resource conscious as possible at this stage, and as long as he holds that, he should be alright. Bad news is the Knights have broken their way in by the looks of things, can actually just skirt around the side there. Second Siege Workshop actually getting thrown up for MBL as well. Doesn't want any of this mess to get in his way. What's that, man? He's gone up to a 4th town center as well, so we've even got 1, 2, 3, 4 in play here. MBL just going to skyrocket in terms of his villager count if he can hold this push. Because as Jibatong moves in and starts taking out those town centers, his own villager count will stay pretty much stable, whereas MBL's going to be in a lot of trouble. The Knights and Crossbows finally make their way in. Town center doing their best to get any kind of damage they can, and getting some walls here in the back. We'll potentially see these Knights run straight to the side, and that's exactly what they're going to do, but look at the fast walls from MBL. In a perfect situation to deal with a lot of this. Does lose a couple of villages around the town center though, however, and villages are evacuated to the back here, and throws up a lumber camp pretty much straight away. Could definitely be much, much worse. MBL at this point though, 600 points down, and actually in a little bit of trouble. That said, up comes the castle. We do have the mangonel in position though, so there's a couple of villages down, some on very, very low health already. Just has to be careful here that... Oh, he could lose so many villages with this. This could be a true castle that's going to cost him the game. But look at this. Here comes the garrison. Loses another 2 villages. Knights moving around as well. So could potentially go for the mangonel. But a great house wall there by MBL as well. This has been an absolute roller coaster of emotions. Pikemen moving around the side here. Hopefully we'll be able to deal with the castle. But all the villages get pulled now. Ooh, 1-for-1 trade there now as well. Potentially going to get a freebie here as well. Survives on 2 health. MBL, you are so far out of your comfort zone here. We've got that knight in play. Manages to get another little hit onto this mangonel here. Finally finishes off, but 1 mangonel left. Castle, however, 100%. It's up. The mangonel did a perfect job at buying time. And look at this. We'll take out the knights so easily. And those guard towers are basically just going to be whittled away so quickly now. MBL doing a great job managing to hold this one out. Some crossbows left in the back here, did get cleaned up by that second mangonel that we saw from the Siege Workshop. So MBL actually putting himself in quite a good position here. When it comes down to villages, he's still only a little bit ahead in terms of 13. Military counts are basically even though, so a massive advantage towards MBL at the moment. Going to clean up these towers, we'll be able to get all of his villagers back onto this gold as soon as this one. And we're actually starting to see production of Berserkers as well. It'll be really interesting to see if he actually goes for Chieftains, of course, which is going to grant the +5 damage to cavalry units. So if we do see Jibatong kind of commit to that scout a little bit harder, or I should say the Knights, it could actually be a really, really good answer. And there's a Berserk in play. I really hope this turns into more of a Berserk-filled game, in all honesty. Pikes, look at that, slowly managing to take out those Knights very quickly. The mangonel, of course, taking out the lone crossbow. Looking over towards Jibatong, what have we got? We've got 1, 2, I'm counting 3 town centers out in play at the moment, so not looking too far behind in terms of his economic build-up ability, but 12 villages still. MBL looking like he's in a great spot. We've actually got another castle coming down as well. This will secure the entryway to his base here as well, and hopefully should aid an extra Berserk production if we're lucky. We'll see. I make no promises, but we'll see how this decides to play out. What else have we got going on? The town centers at the front here as well from MBL, doing a great job taking all the resources on the map you can find, and basically when one gets pushed in on, you like to be able to have some kind of reserve you can push across to, so he was never in too much trouble when he lost this gold here, the moment he got this town center down over here, and I still don't think Jibatong's been scouting it, so what have we got? Yeah, has no clue about what's going on over on this side here, so isn't able to harass the full economy as best as he would like to. MBL even going down with Bodkin Arrow, trying to get the extra range on that town center, to put himself in a relatively good place. Lumber Camp coming up as well, but that castle looking like it's in a great defensive location. There's not too much that can be done about this. Jibatong finally notices the town centers around the side here, moves in with the Knights to try and get some harassment. Mangonel, of course, going to be able to take out the town center from afar, so could potentially deal with that. We've even got Scorpions from MBL. MBL is giving us a true show here of all the units we just want to see but never see in competitive play. What have we got? Hopefully we should see this Mangonel start some kind of offensive against this town center. Or, what's he doing? You're moving too close to the town center! Alright, looks like the tragedy will be avoided, but still, not exactly what I want to see. And we've got more and more towers getting thrown up around here as well. This could even be kind of put down to just more of an extensive tower push than anything. And look, they don't make for the best games to view, but it's been really interesting watching MBL hold this and how well he's done with just a couple of units and committing minimal resources to actually hold this one. Chainmail coming down, however, so the pikeman will get that reinforced, and I'm still looking to see exactly what he's going for here. We've got Jibatong buying extra resources as well, so I like to imagine he's starting to think about going up to the next age, and look at those resources he's got at home. He is in a great situation. We do have the Mangonel here as well, ready to push down the hill towards the town centre, but the Berserk count, like we were starting to see over here, it's getting high. We've got the +2 armor on these guys as well, Forging coming down for MBL, but on top of that, we've got Jibatong actually going up to Imperial Age, and man, an Imperial Age army just stomps through a Castle Age army. MBL really needs to pull a big advantage right now and find a way to hold this one. Mangonel there on low HP would have been saved for the first hit here by the hill bonus, but not so lucky. Sadly, the crossbows might be the same situation. Most of them managed to live through the first blast, of course, but rocks fall, everybody dies. Man, look at those Berserks just do work against those Knights. They managed to take him out relatively quickly, and look at him as well. They've got that +1 armor. Arson coming down from MBL as well, so it looks like he's looking for that bonus against buildings. And yeah, here we go. Starting to take down those guard towers. Town center on the front lines for Jibatong though, so he's going to have to push through that as well, but I'm starting to see a lot of Berserks on the field. We're up to 18 military for MBL, only 10 for Jibatong. And look at this, another castle gets thrown up on the front, so he might actually be going into full Berserks here. And is he going for Berserks in any more of these? Trying to get the production behind this. Looks like he's just on a little bit of low resources, but really doing the damage. And look at the Berserks just managed to deal with this. Arson's such a strong upgrade. Ironcasting behind this as well, so going to get the extra +1 on top of these guys, so go for the 9+2 to essentially get himself some fully upgraded Berserks, minus of course Chieftains. Expanding out his economy around the side here, Jibatong's still looking relatively good at home, but the thing I'm worried about is if his army numbers just continue to kind of plummet, he's not really going to be able to hold too much behind this. Does try and get an aggressive castle up on the frontier to hold his staging position so he can really kind of push in towards MBL. Going for man-at-arms as well, so looking for the counter to those Berserks. And the Rams from MBL, the Ram train is beginning. I'm seeing just a lot of a push here from MBL, and there's not really too much we're going to see Jibatong be able to deal with it. Berserk's moving into play as well, and this actually could be an ending push here. If Jibatong can't hold this, he doesn't have the units here. These Berserks are just looking amazing in terms of their upgrades. The Rams try and deal with it. A couple of Mangonels behind, so should hopefully clean up the battering rams just in time. Berserk's being pulled around, however, they're on top of the Mangonels now. The battering rams will survive the push by the looks of it. One more is all he needs, and it gets taken out. The castle will be denied. Village is taken out here very, very quickly. MBL flipping this one around. Chieftain's on the way as well, so Knight's not even going to be able to help out Jibatong. Castle gets thrown down towards the front here as well, and MBL puts himself in a great situation. 121 compared to 99 villages for MBL in a massive lead, but the important part being 39 to only 3 military, and it looks like that's our match. MBL taking the day with the use of those Berserks, the aggressive push here, even though only in Castle Age, it was just too much for Jibatong, and he was completely overwhelmed, losing his forward position. And look at this back at home. He had nothing to defend it. Those Berserks were just going to come in and absolutely raid the economy, which is exactly what they're doing, of course, the Vikings. I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I'll catch you in the next game.